and I love to support mature yoga teachers. Someone told me I should stop saying the word mature because young people can be mature too, which I totally get. So, what's a better word than mature? Experience? I don't know. Anyway, I like to help older yoga teachers to get their wisdom out there into the world. So, welcome. Thank you for joining me for my weekly live stream. I'm usually here at 11 on Wednesdays. Um, and today I'm going to be talking about some options for doing twists without using your arms like crowbars, because oftentimes that happens. I remember one time I was in a yoga class about 20 years ago, and I was in like, one of the lunges with the elbow across, and that sort of thing. I remember doing that, and I remember hearing the pop in my low back, thinking, "Oh, that was not good." It wasn't like an adjustment. It was like something was had moved to where it wasn't supposed to be. And I never had like a really extreme pain from that, but my back was not really the same after that. And I remember doing some gardening a few days later, and it popped a little more, and I was like, "Oh." So I started to get really good at figuring out how to do twists without that extra weight that often you don't need. So that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave a comment. Let me know where you're coming in from, and anything else you want me to discuss on these weekly live streams. I'm happy to take your suggestions and happy to help. Okay, so a couple of things before we start with the twist. Today is the last day to get in to midnight tonight, Eastern Time, the last day to join the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society, which is my membership group. So if you have been watching these videos for a while, for a year or two, or even a couple of weeks, and you like my teaching, you might want to try it out. I mean, you can just try it out for a month and see if you like it. And we've got a really good sale running on it right now. The tuition is really affordable. I encourage you to check it out, and all you have to do is go to Subtle Yoga, subtleyoga.com. I don't have the link. I will put the link in the description after I finish this, but it's just, I think it's Resilience or Society. I can't remember. But I'll put the link in so you can check it out. And you can always reach out to us, support@subtleyoga.com, and we'll send you the link. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that today is the last day, but then we close the doors and they will not reopen until later this year. We usually open them twice a year. That's sort of the habit that we've been getting into. And we like to keep the doors closed otherwise, because it creates a safer, more coherent kind of cohort. And that's what, we like the community. Um, okay, you can get all the details about it. All the details are on the website, but just really quickly, I teach 4 live classes a month, every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can come and join the live class. If you can't make it live, many people watch the replay. You're welcome to watch the replay whenever you like. And if you join the group, you also have access to more than 200 classes, including a bunch of 30-minute challenge classes and then longer workshops. We also have guest teachers who come in every quarter, teach workshops. You have access to all that stuff. You have access to the guides. There's 45 of them now. So we've done all sorts of topics, from like yoga for knees and yoga and exploring the chakra system, and yoga for hips, and yoga for low back, and yoga for anxiety, or yoga for positive mental health. We've done all sorts of stuff. So I encourage you to go ahead and look at the website to see if it's something that you might be interested in. Because today's the last day, just to reiterate that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into these like what could you do with a twist, right? I've got my chair out, so you could do it on a chair. And my cat's here and making a cameo. So you could, it looks like she's sitting on my shoulder or something. You could do a twist in a chair, which is a great way to try this if you're just trying it. You could sit on the floor if you like, sit on a bolster. And I'm just going to show you a couple of options for seated twists. Now, one of the things that happens with chair yoga, I've been teaching chair yoga for almost 30 years, actually, since 1995. And one of the things that happens is people get real comfy in their chairs. Then you tell them to twist, and they're like, twist, and there's not much twisting happening. So it can be really helpful to sit up in the chair so you have space behind you. Now, I have worked with folks with ALS and with Alzheimer's and with stroke, post stroke, who they can't sit up in the chair. So, that's, of course, that's fine. But if you can sit up in the chair, it makes a lot of sense to be here at the front of the chair so you have space for the twist, right? When you're sitting on the floor, of course, you just have the space because you don't have any wall behind you. Now, the issue with sitting and twisting, which you may have heard me talk about before, is that the spine is loaded. The lumbar spine is loaded. That means there's more weight in the lumbar spine than usual. So seated twists should, because of that, they need to be towards the end of the practice. I don't start practices with seated twists. It's not the best way to do it because of the loaded spine. What's better? Well, your spine's much less loaded when you're lying on your back. I tend to not put these in the beginning of the practice anyway, just because twists are, they're intense in general. But sometimes I'll do like a little, maybe knee rocking, not all the way, but a little bit maybe. But no, when you're lying down, the spine is much less loaded. And then the floor is there to prevent you from using your arm like a crowbar too much, although you can still do it to some extent. So let's go back to seated. So how do we get out of this habit of using the arm like a crowbar? And in a chair class, a seated twist in a chair class, one of the ways people use the crowbar is they grip with the hand and they pull. The other way they use arms like a crowbar is they hold the back of the chair and pull, right? I don't recommend that. On the floor, it's even easier to get the crowbar effect going. I'm not promoting this, by the way. I'm just showing you what you see happen a lot. So on, any kind of seated twist, just typical Matsyendra, people put their elbow across, the knee, and then crowbar their way into the twist. Do you see where I'm going with that, and why that may not be the best option? Okay, so here's what you can do instead. The first one is really kind. You use your hand and you bring it to the opposite side of the chest and then twist. So you're just crossing the arm over and you're using the belly to twist. That's really the key, is twist with your belly. And then, going the other way. And then in addition to using my abdominals to twist, I'm going to catalyze the effect by breathing out. So using the exhale, drawing the navel in, using abdominals and my belly to twist. It's harder. And I'm using, and I teach from the nervous system. That's what I teach. I teach about nervous system yoga. When you're using your breath, you're using this central channel, you could say, and central nervous system area. You're using all the muscles, but you're working into the center of the body as opposed to the periphery, which, like Iyengar is much more about the periphery. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just different methodology. Okay, I teach about central channel. So now let me give you another one. This is number 2. So the first one was just, you can do this sitting, you can do it in a chair, you can do it sitting on the floor. The first one is just use your hand. That's it. And then as you're using that hand, it's really placing the hand using the belly is how I should say it. So you place the hand, use the belly. The second one, you're still going to use the belly, but now the arms are going to do something different. And this works particularly well when you're sitting on the floor. So Sukhasana, right? So you're just sitting with the legs crossed. The second one, you hold the arms up, like you're kind of holding something. Take a breath. And then with the twist happening, this is really belly now. I'm using my belly and hold something heavy in your hands and using back muscles too. Inhaling back to center and exhale, use your belly to twist. Use your exhale and your belly together. And inhale back to center. really different, right? It's an entirely different thing than putting your hand on the opposite knee and the hand on the floor. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but that's a really different twist than this. It has very different effects. So I encourage you to explore these twists and to play with them. And particularly if you're the kind of person who's over twisted in yoga, as many of us have. Um, okay, I'm going to show you one more thing. I, sorry, my vata's really up today. Um, so one more thing is, what if you were doing a lunge, right? So instead of the lunge with the namaste kind of twist thing, how about you do a lunge with the arms open kind of twist using the belly? It's a much more kind of solid and muscular focused way of moving, as opposed to exploiting the hypermobility of the joints or exploiting the joints at all, even if they're not hypermobile. Okay, I hope this is helpful. As I said, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think and anything else you want me to talk about here. And then last thing before I leave, please check out the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. The doors close tonight, without exception, at midnight. So you have about 13 hours to check it out. And if you give it a try, see if you like it. You can try it for a month. If you like my sample live streams here, I think you might really enjoy the Resilience Society. And if anybody's watching who's in the Resilience Society, I really appreciate it if you leave a comment about your experience, because then it just helps other people to know what we're doing. It's focused on creating greater resilience in the nervous system. I teach nervous system focused yoga. It's really neuroendocrine immune focused yoga, but I much more teach from the physiological side of things. Thanks so much for joining me today. All the best, and I'll see you next week.